Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Yeah, it's good. I think you've done well. Thought everyone's still half asleep like me. But can I, of course, welcome everyone to this year's Merrill Business Breakfast. Can I, of course, start as well by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land, pay my respect to elders, both past, present, emerging, and as I look around the room here today, we have several guests that I would like to acknowledge. Of course, Minister Jihad Dib, caught him off guard, he's eating. I reckon that's why he came here today, just to eat. And the member for Bankstown. Linda Volz, member for Auburn. Kylie Wilkinson, member for East Hills. Deputy Mayor Rochelle Harika. Councillor Jennifer Walther. Councillor Hadi Saleh. Any other councillors in the room? Oops. My thanks also go to our panel, who I look forward to talking to a bit shortly. And it goes without saying, a special welcome to all of you who have taken their time out of your busy schedules to attend today. And if you haven't already, I hope you take some time to engage with various storeholders just outside. It's great to see you all. When council business team asked me if 7 a.m. was too early to hold a business breakfast, I wasn't sure who they were directing that question to. As I know that owning and running a business isn't a 9 to 5 job. It's up early and home very late, 7 days a week, and often it comes at both financial and personal sacrifices. And for the record, I am also an early starter. When I thought about today's event and what I would say, I couldn't help but think of the environment in which you are required to operate. By that, I mean what is happening around the world, what is happening locally, and all the red tape, paperwork and restrictions which are driving more businesses to the wall. Without trying to discourage you, but acknowledging how tough it is out there. I recently read an article that company insolvencies were the highest in 35 years, and that 60% of businesses would fail within the first 3 years of operation. Let's face it, no sooner had you recovered from COVID, we now have a fuel crisis that is causing a lot of issues and uncertainty throughout the economy. Prices are rising and the cost of living pressures on families are starting to bite. We all know that if you pass on the increasing cost, demand will fall. Almost everyone here today will be affected in some way or another. Whether you're a delivery driver, a tradie, a butcher, a florist, or a cafe owner, the increase in fuel cost will impact your businesses. And it was good to see the PM yesterday cutting the excise to half. This morning is about connection and celebration. I want to get to know you better, hear your stories, recognise the incredible contribution you make to the place we all call home. Here in Canterbury Bankstown, we have around 42,000 businesses, and a staggering 98% of them are small businesses. Just like yours, and in the past 12 months, we have seen 4,562 new businesses registered. Make no mistake, you are very much a part of a fast-growing, dynamic community. Our population is just under 400,000 and growing, year by year. And the prediction is that by 2036, we will reach the 450,000 mark. If it gives you any comfort, I am constantly telling my wife we will shop local, and I hope other locals are thinking the same. Shopping and employing local is an investment in the community in the most powerful way. And it goes without saying that employing local supports a stronger, more sustainable economy. It also creates more connected workplaces where people understand local culture, speak the language of the community, and enjoy a better work-life balance. As the mayor of this great city, I'll do whatever it takes to support, and if I can support you and attract visitors to our city, hosting events like Lakemba Nights during Ramadan, the Earlwood Festival, Bankstown Bites, Lunar New Year. These events alone attract more than $20 million to the local economy. Then, of course, there is the opening of the new metro line later this year. A brand new hospital to be built just down the road, and tens of thousands of new homes and offices given the green light across our precincts. The purpose of my breakfast is to bring you all together, to network with others, and to find out what is available to help your business grow and succeed. Whether it is advice from successful businesses, compliance information, assistance with council matters, or navigating your way through government red tape. As you arrived today, you would have seen a number of information stalls. Feel free to say hello to our friends from Services New South Wales, somewhere here in the room, yep, at the back. TAFE, a number of you from TAFE, yep, just over there. Factory of the Future. And of course, Wiley from the Canterbury Bankstown Chamber of Commerce. He's working hard outside. They'll be able to provide the latest financial assistance available to small businesses, offer help to small and medium-sized businesses, support innovation through technology and smart solutions. If you're running a cafe, restaurant, accountant, or legal service, they can work with you to find tailored ways to streamline your operations, improve efficiency, or introduce new tools that include how you can train and upskill your staff. One last thing before we move on, I would like to remind everyone, or if you haven't heard, invite you all to get involved in the Mayor's 24-hour challenge for mental health on the 16th and 17th of April. It's about raising awareness of the impact mental health challenges have, particularly on youth and our younger people, and all funds will go towards Charlotte's Wish Foundation, a young girl who took her own life some 15 months ago. You can help by registering to run, to walk, to spread the word, or even to donate. Once again, I want to thank the team for putting on today. Well done, team. Great work. And I want to thank you all for taking the time to attend and wish you every success in the future. Please enjoy the rest of the morning. Thank you, everyone.
I guess just following on from that, I just wanted to give a bit of a shout out to my team. If you haven't met them already, they're out there at the table just out the door there. So we manage a service called Studio Ventures. It's a digital service. That service is for our local businesses, so I do encourage you to chat to them and find out a little bit more, as well as our Where Interesting Happens platforms as well, where we help promote our local businesses to wider Sydney to try to obviously attract more people into our area. Now, to kick it off, we're starting with a story that really captures what this morning is all about. So please join me in welcoming Jamal Fetele from Fetele Wholesale Meat Supplies. What started as a retail butcher shop in the early 90s has now grown into an internationally recognised business. So I think we're all keen to hear about that journey, how that journey unfolded. So Jamal, please come up here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I have to say it's fantastic to be at such a wonderful event here in Canterbury Bankstown, a place that I've called home my entire life. I'm Jamal Fetele, third generation of Fetele Foods, a business that started in 1994, where my grandfather, also known as Jamal Fetele, started a butcher shop in Punchbowl. He came from Lebanon with his family. He was a taxi driver back then, and he did what he could to make a life for us here in Australia, and look where we are today. So I'll give you a bit of background about myself. I'm 24. I studied law and finance at the University of Technology in Sydney, and I'm also the head of operations and brand at my family's company. 3 generations of business, 30 plus years, and it all started a few kilometres from where we're sitting today in Punchbowl. When my grandfather came here, he wasn't trying to build an empire. He was trying to build a life. He was an immigrant who had come to Australia with his family, with a set of skills and with something that I think is underrated in business conversations today: a deep sense of community obligation. He understood instinctively that if you treat people in your neighbourhood well, if you give them quality, if you're honest in your dealings, then you don't just build customers, you build trust. And that wasn't a business strategy. That was a value system that he had adopted and passed on to his subsequent generations. And everything that Fatela Foods has become since then flows from that original value system. Fast forward to the late 1990s, and my father, Ahmed, and his brother, Mohammed, become apprentice butchers in the butcher shop. And together, they took over what's now known today as Fatela Foods. In 2007, they began their first wholesale venture, where they began to sell halal meat into cafes, restaurants, airlines. It was a very challenging initial 8 to 9 years, and eventually they landed contracts with Coles and Woolworths, making halal meat available in the local supermarkets. I want to be honest with you this morning because I think it's more valuable than just a polished highlight reel of what business is about. Scaling a food manufacturing business, particularly in Australia, is extraordinarily difficult. We're dealing with food safety regulations, HACCP compliance, audits, labelling requirements, trying to get listed with major supermarket chains, and if anyone's ever been through that process, let me tell you, it is a long and strenuous journey. We're managing cold chain logistics. As a business, we like to say we're 5 different businesses in one: logistics, production, slicing, delivery. All these different business elements come together, and all of them have to be done really, really well. And we're doing all of this as a family business. We're people who are butchers by trade, and yet we're now in charge of a business that supplies halal meat all around Australia to Southeast Asia and the Middle East. My father and my uncle built this business through relentless hard work, late nights and early mornings, setbacks, and through a bit of stubbornness. But I mean that as a compliment, because they refused to accept that quality halal food had to come at a premium that ordinary Australian families couldn't afford. By 2019, Fatela Foods had outgrown Pilcher Street and moved into a state-of-the-art 5,000 square metre facility in Prestons. To put that into perspective, this is a facility that meets the highest food safety and manufacturing requirements in this country, and it allowed us to scale production, improve consistency, and genuinely compete at a national level. And compete we did. Just recently at the Australian Meat Industry Council Awards, Fatela Foods proudly took the National Champion Award in the poultry ham product for our turkey ham. And that's an achievement we take very, very seriously and great pride in. We sat in a room with some of the biggest small goods producers in the world, in Australia, the likes of Primo, Don, Batocchi, people that we've always looked up to for inspiration since we started. And to be recognised amongst them was a truly, truly rewarding achievement. I myself was recognised as a finalist in AMIC's Small Goods Young Achiever program, where young achievers in the small goods industry around Australia were collectively put together through a series of tests in order to highlight the next generation that are coming through. From a butcher shop in Punchbowl to the shelves of every major supermarket in the country, my grandfather is very proud. And what it means to be the 3rd generation, we've all heard it, 90% of family businesses by the 3rd generation are done. I'm 24, I'm studying law, and I'm deeply involved in the operations of Fatela Foods. I started off when I was 12, working at the butcher shop, serving customers. By 15, I was boning lamb and beef, and by 18, I was on the slicing and packing lines. When you're 3rd generation of a family business, you carry something with you. You carry the sacrifices of your grandfather that he made when he first arrived in the country. You carry the vision, and you carry the expectation. Not that anyone has spoken aloud, but one that you feel nonetheless. And not that hopefully that you won't be the generation that squanders the hard work of the people who came before you. But I don't think my job is to simply maintain what's been built. I think my job is to help evolve it. The law matters because food manufacturing businesses operate in a complex regulatory and commercial environment. Understanding contracts, compliance, how to structure deals, that's not separate from the family mission, it's essential to it. Financial matters for the same reason, and I bring a perspective shaped by this generation, digital native, globally connected, and genuinely excited about product innovation and export growth. What I have learned is that the best thing a next generation family member can do is not to walk in and disrupt everything, and not to simply preserve everything and keep everything unchanged. It's to listen deeply, earn trust slowly, and value wherever you genuinely can. I also want to say that none of this happens in isolation. Canterbury Bankstown is not just the backdrop to Fatela Foods' journey, it's part of the story itself. The community that supported my grandfather's butcher shop in Punchbowl, the families who became loyal customers, the neighbourhoods who spread the word, they're the reason we exist. Organisations like the Canterbury Bankstown Chamber of Commerce, and I would like to acknowledge the people who are here that make these events happen, because without them, we lose that sense of community that's driven who we are. Creating spaces exactly like this one, where people who are building things that can find each other and be reminded that they're not doing things alone. These are not just support services, they're part of the reason this region produces the business it produces. 42,000, as mentioned by the Mayor, is amazing to see that we've got such an entrepreneurial community here. Looking forward, we're not done building. Our vision for Fatela Foods is to continue expanding our product range, to deepen our export presence, particularly into the Middle East and Southeast Asian markets, where the appetite for premium halal Australian food products is genuine and growing. We want to continue innovating, new formats, new flavours, new ways of meeting the needs of Australian families of every background. And our mission stays the same, making premium quality halal food accessible to all Australians at fair prices. It wasn't just a marketing tagline when my father opened his shop in Punchbowl. It was just what he believed, and it still is. Every business in this room has a story. Some of you at the beginning of yours, and some of you are mid-chapter, dealing with the exact same challenges my father and uncle navigated. The compliance headaches, the scaling difficulties, the self-doubt that doesn't get talked about in keynote speeches. But I think it's all important that we believe in our story. Not because success is guaranteed, it definitely isn't, but because the act of building something, particularly here in Canterbury Bankstown, where communities have always had to fight a little harder for recognition, that act matters. It matters to your family, it matters to your community, and it contributes to an ecosystem that makes this place extraordinary. My grandfather came to Punchbowl with a set of skills and a commitment to doing things properly. He couldn't have imagined that one day his grandson would still be running a huge multinational enterprise. We're extremely grateful for it, and places like Canterbury Bankstown and the support we receive are the reason we get to exist. So thank you very much, and I'm grateful to be here today.
All right, thank you, Jamal. What a great story and some really great insight. I think what really stood out is that business success doesn't happen overnight. It's built over time through hard work, persistence, and a clear vision. And 3 generations working together, that's pretty special and not always easy. So it really speaks to strong values and trust. It's also a great reminder for everyone that you can start local, but you don't have to stay local. So with a right mindset, support and connections, there are real opportunities to grow and beyond what you might have first imagined.
Welcome, panel. Just first, before we start into the questions, when I told Jihad, sitting right next to me, that you're from the coffee, the Parchi, he reckons it's the best coffee he's ever had. So I just thought I'd let you know. First, we'll start with Mariam. Thank you so much for all those wonderful juices outside. Everyone tried them? I think they're great. So you've been operating since 2017. When was your driving force at the time, and what did you see as your first point of difference from other juice businesses at the time, and what made you think you would succeed? And did you have a mentor or a network for support?
It's a tough question. 2017. So the way it occurred, I'd say I'd saved up working for bigger companies. I experienced payroll and many other things in background. I studied management, and I thought 2017 is a good time. So I planned 5 years in advance that this is what I want to do. What motivated me would be my background in health and fitness. I wanted to share that with the world. So we are going international this year, which is amazing. So it's iJuice is a beverage where we actually cold press Australian sugarcane that we grow ourselves, and that was the vision in prior to 2017, in which we had started off with a gazebo outside my parents' home, which led us to the multi-locations that we have today, and we'll be expanding nationally and internationally this year, which is exciting. The other question.
Mentor?
A mentor. I didn't have a mentor. I just took a bit of my experience each part of my life, and I kind of accumulated it and created iJuice from what I gained knowledge from. I think the biggest, I wouldn't say it's a mentor, but the experience is working for a very successful company prior to opening my own.
Okay, over to John. Well, first, it's great to have you here representing the family, of course, and I want to thank you again for your donation towards our 24-hour challenge. It'll keep a lot of people awake for 24 hours walking around the tracks. You're here obviously from the Roasting Club alongside the well-known Apache brand. Could you please share a bit of how those two brands came about? How has the family managed to build and sustain such a successful business over time? Tell us about it all.
Like a lot of humble beginnings, a little over 12 years ago, Michael Rababi started a coffee cart in Marrickville, and then obviously through a genuine passion for great coffee and people and community, it grew into a service warehouse where they sell, retail coffee machines, help service machines, set up cafe businesses, and fast forward to today, it's now grown into the largest showroom in the world with mixed brands. So think of like cars, you've got Mercedes, Ferraris, you've got Bentleys, you've got every brand under the sun in the showroom. And it's been a nice journey to grow from that, and obviously seeing the family involved. You've got Michael's sister in accounts. You have, obviously Michael's brother-in-law doing sales, which if any of you have worked with Apache will know Danny. He's like an icon in this area. And then again, the Apache mainly focuses a lot on the front end of the businesses, helping cafes succeed by not just with equipment and service, but with training and support. And then late last year, the new chapter of the Roasting Club. And the Roasting Club is the behind the scenes that you never get to see. The coffee companies that roast coffee, that craft not just blends, but they cultivate a lot of relationships with farmers, direct trade agreements. It's a global business. So we now roast using industrial roasters, big production. It's a $25 million facility right in Roselands, right next to Apache. So it's just a wonderful addition to what we offer to the area, but also to the coffee culture and what we see in Australia. So it's just been a fun journey. And I guess the families sustain that through good caffeine. Nothing's always perfect. There's always bickering and disputes, but at the end of the day, you share a meal and everything's forgotten, and you move forward. So so it's been a nice wild journey, and so.
Thank you. Over to Jamal. Well, before we get to Jamal, how good was the food outside? A lot of the halal meat was great. Well done, Jamal. Thank you as well. Can we give a round of applause? As you said in your presentation earlier, your grandfather obviously started this business. It's become a huge, and he's still around, and it's become a huge successful business. I read an online article by the Australian consulting firm that says only 30%, and you mentioned that in your speech, of family businesses survive to the second generation, and less than 12% make it to the third. So you're amongst an elite group. By the time you come along, Fatalia was already a household name. Can you talk about the introduction of your vision statement and how your grandfather and father transitioned to that style of corporate identity?
For starters, the foundation that my father, my grandfather, and my uncle set is fantastic to work with. You know, it's like starting on a house that's pretty much done, right? And it's just about going from here and where we go. The foundation is absolutely fantastic. All the research and the hard work that they've spent years putting together really helps me as a third generation come into something that's already flourishing and help add my value where I can. Now, I think the key for myself and my brother, being the third generation of a business, to avoid being part of that statistic is to ensure that we accumulate enough education and information as possible to add value in the best ways possible. You know, I went to university to make sure I had a formal education. My brother has a formal education, and we will continue to make sure that we educate ourselves in all aspects of business, food science, manufacturing, technology, because at the end of the day, knowledge constantly evolves, and we have to be at the forefront of that evolution. Otherwise, we will be left behind. I think for us, it's very important to make sure we don't take a step back, keep fighting as if the business is still brand new, right? And the best way to do that is for us to continue to, again, accumulate knowledge and really apply that throughout the business as best as possible.
All right, just a follow-up question. Can you give us an example of a challenge you had to overcome?
Yeah, for sure. There's been plenty. So I started in production, small goods production when I was 17. By a year in, and I was the small goods maker of the factory. So making all the mortadella, the chorizos you guys see on the shelf. That was my job for once when I was 17. I did really well in school, and wanted to go to university. And at the time, after my second trimester at UNSW, Corona had hit, and we became very, very busy as a business. We were still operating out of our Milpera site, and the amount of volume and demand that we were experiencing meant we had to run 2 shifts. And as one of the few people in the business that was across the very different production elements, it was me and my brother who had to run production. Now, I'm sure you're aware that doesn't leave too much time for university study then. And so I had to take a break. I had to take about 1.5 years off away from university, something that was a decision I had to make at the time to just value what was most important, and keeping the business producing and keeping up with the demand was the key priority at that time. Corona passed, things passed, production managers get trained and put in place, and I was able to take a bit of a step back and complete my university studies. And I think that was a big challenge at the time, was for me to have to go through the priorities of making a decision as to what's more important, but then also the challenge of making sure that I had the motivation to actually go back and complete my studies. So yeah, very proud of getting through that.
All right, over to Wally. Wally, you're the only Chamber of Commerce in our region and well known for your networking and bringing businesses together. Hearing from these amazing businesses, what could the Chamber do to assist from the beginning and throughout the journey? And given their success now, how would membership help them now and going forward?
Well, Mayor, first let me acknowledge your dedication and your passion, and we look forward to continue collaborating and working with you on Council. And if I may give a shout out to the economical team, Susie, Mike, Jenny, Liz, and the rest. They've been amazing and a good teamwork to advance the area. Yesterday I had the privilege to share and witness a celebration of a business owner starting from home, and now they've just launched their brand new office in Alexandria. She's a female founder, reached out to the Chamber about 2.5 years ago, seeking involvement, seeking engagement, seeking brand awareness, and seeking to be out there. After 2.5 years, yesterday or last night, we managed to celebrate establishment, milestone, and the reality about hard work. What I'm trying to say in technical terms, success doesn't happen by coincidence. builds on sacrifice, courage, resilience, on backing yourself when no one else supports you. But can you imagine how faster and how stronger that journey becomes when you're not doing it alone? Hence where the community and the chamber comes in. In the initial stage, the chamber is about acceleration. It's about building relationship, connection. In the growth phase, the chamber is about opening doors, building business partnership, and helping businesses to establish visibility because they can't achieve it on their own. At the maturity stage, it's about building legacy. It's about mentoring others and about supporting together to make sure that we can shape the future of our business community. In a collective term, when businesses come together, they don't come and elevate individually, but elevate collectively. So that's the power of the chamber.
Thanks, Riley. Over to Lindsay Cohen from Factory of the Future. Hi, mate. Hey. Well, you're not a business in the traditional sense, but you do offer innovative technology and development that small and medium businesses could use to help become a modern business. Upscale, test new ideas and so on and so forth. Could you just fill us on how that works in a practical sense?
Yeah, so traditionally universities have been driven by research and development and academia and those levels, and then over time focus of universities generally in Australia has been on students, working with students or doing whatever is best for the students. But where the Factory of the Future is different is because we are driven by industry, what industry needs and how industry can improve what it's doing and be more successful globally and locally. So we'll work with manufacturers to take advantage of the new technologies, and we have a lot of the advanced manufacturing technologies available, such as 3D printers and automation, robotics, smart sensing, digital twinning, all sorts of other technologies as well. And so the local manufacturers can test and trial those technologies, but they can also, if they're producing a product or a new product, they can trial and test, prototype that product or components of their equipment or whatever it happens to be. We'll do whatever we need to do with the company to make them more productive, more efficient and do better. And the other thing too is that we'll work with companies of any size. So yes, we have a big focus on startups because we're part of Launchpad at the Western Sydney University, which is all around helping start-up graduate students get their businesses up and running. Also small businesses, medium-sized businesses, even multinationals, if they want to take advantage of the technologies that we've got, we're happy to work with them. And industries across our businesses across any industry sector as well. Any manufacturer, food companies as an example, steel fabricators, whatever they happen to do, we'll do whatever we can to make those companies work faster and better.
Thanks, Lindsay. Back to you, Mariam. You've built a strong presence on Instagram, social media, and you're quite community-driven. How has Instagram helped you, your business, to run or to build relations and not just followers?
Yeah, social media is a powerful tool, especially Instagram. How it helped is we actually listen to our customers. So most of our customers actually speak through these channels. In fact, most of our products that you see on our menu is actually by customer demand, which is quite interesting because we've got a flavour called Quench Melon. It was actually named after a customer mentioned something, oh, this quenches my thirst, and can you add melon? Okay, so we called it the Quench Melon. So there's a lot of hidden meanings behind the menu. So yeah, social media really connects you. The main, I'd say, it's about listening. That's what social media is used for, is to listen to people as opposed to just making them feel marketed to. So that's quite important, yeah.
Thanks, Mariam. John, you also, between, I think, Facebook and Instagram, you guys have about 150,000 followers. Did you set that out, or were you strategic in using social media? And how did you build your brand to engage with your audience in an authentic way?
Absolutely no planning whatsoever in the beginning. I think you just
That's how you run a successful business.
That's right, yeah.
Without planning.
No planning. Everything's, I guess, organic, you know, through your own personal growth, through your strategies. You're dealing with a lot of different market forces and trends that you've got to keep, on top of. But then ultimately you gain traction through trust, and through trust there's an authentic approach towards showing the everyday, the people behind the scenes, the people that are connected to the brand, whether we're sponsoring something or whether we're supplying a coffee cart or building, helping someone build a coffee shop. There's a lot of stories, a lot of brands, a lot of businesses, and we supply to, hundreds of cafes where, again, they need support. They're growing, they're learning, and so are we, but together we're becoming authentic, and I think followers grow organically, and then every so often you jump on a trend or two and then do a couple of dancings and try to forget about it. But yeah, it's just through consistency as well. Always just be relentless and just keep posting, even if you think it's not going to work. Some of the ones that succeed the most are the ones that you think not going to make it. I'm not going to post it up because it's going to be rubbish. But I think we've got one that was trending and went viral because we put fruit in a coffee handle and brewed it, and then people were outraged and wanted to kill us, and other people were like, you know what, that's a great idea. So yeah, we did.
Sure. Are you going to dance for us? You want to be a trend?
My ankle hurts this morning, so unfortunately.
Back to Jamal. We heard a little bit about what the Factory of the Future can do for small and medium businesses. Looking back, how did you make that leap from a small business to one that is, a wholesale Australia-wide, even international? And what have you added to your premises?
Oh, a lot, especially from where we first came from. When we first started operating, there's a very key piece of equipment called a thermoformer in packets. It's what pretty much creates the packages you see on shelf. Back then we had a really small thermoformer. In 2012, that was when we first bought one in Pilcher Street. But you have to keep on top of the latest technology and innovation, right? You can't, as a business in today's modern world, go without this technology. And that thermoformer I'm talking to you about, we now have 4 that are capable of producing thousands of packets an hour. Without that, if we were unable to adapt to the technology, we'd just get lost in the bigger players that are just consistently adapting. And at the end of the day, efficiency and productivity makes for a cheaper product on shelf. So in investing in these technology, you're able to provide not just a better quality product, but also a cheaper product. And that's essentially what customers want. So it's very important for us to make sure we stay on top. We have regular meetings with a lot of our machinery suppliers, our food technology suppliers, to make sure that they're constantly keeping us in the loop on what's the current new industry standard.
Thanks, Jamal. Lindsay, can you give us a couple of case studies about how your factory has assisted or helped businesses in Canterbury, Bankstown?
Yeah, so a couple of really good examples is Sisterly Bites, which is a small startup level almost protein ball production company out at the Bankstown racecourse. They're looking at taking on board some new technologies to speed up what they produce, and also looking at getting involved with our Hawkesbury campus food technology R&D side of things. So we're working with them to take that on board. Another really good example is SWA Water out at Revesby, and they're a global leader in water technologies and stormwater, sewage water technologies and those sorts of things. And that's another really good example where some of our technologies around automation and robotics, also being able to use for example, our CNC 5-axis machine to steel produce components of their technological equipment is great, and research and development as well. A lot of our academics work in that space too. And also, if I say, Jamal, I think a lot of your technologies could be of great relevance and interest to us, and we could probably work with you too.
There we go, connecting business. Over to Wally. Wally, what are 3 challenges that businesses tell you throughout the year, and how do you help them overcome these challenges as a chamber?
Mayor, the message is clear across the board when I meet with business across the region. It's very consistent, it's very real. The cost of pressure. The first is the energy, fuel, and wages. Margin are diminishing. A business is being asked to do more with less. The workforce, it's not about finding people, it's about finding the right people, retain them, especially in this competitive environment. And the uncertainty, in this climate, businesses are finding it difficult to expand, to invest, or even to take the next step. But this is where the Chamber comes in. We advocate strongly for our members. We help provide leads, meaningful leads that turns to meaningful opportunities, and provide the support so they can move with confidence. Especially in these difficult times, the question is why business should be doing it on their own. Instead, be part of a platform that helps you and backs you up.
Thanks, Wally. Mariam, can you give us 2 tips to any of the new businesses? Just a couple of tips how they succeed.
Couple of tips. The first tip would be start small. That's something very important. As I said, I started in a gazebo, unbranded perhaps. My signage was literally laminated signs. Starting small is, that's the first tip I would go. And the second tip would be take some short courses or learn how to delegate tasks. As you know, you can do everything, but in the long run it may drain you. So my second tip would be learn to delegate and to receive help. That would be my 2 tips.
Thanks, Mariam. John, your 2 tips?
I mentioned this in a little short video outside, but don't be in a hurry. Like, growth is slow. So we're all in a hurry to be, millionaires or, successful influencers, right? But growth is slow, and enjoy that slowness, because that slowness will bring a bit more clarity, but also will mean something a bit more when you've reached your goals and objectives. And the second one is lots of coffee, lots of caffeine. It's the legal drug, so get on it. And we're here to help you, so yeah.
Okay, I won't say anything there. But Lindsay, to you, how 2 tips as they start to mature and grow?
Yeah, so the first tip is to be innovative and creative. So you don't want to compete directly with your opponents. You want to do what they do, but do it better, do it differently, and find a unique market opportunity for you. So one of the ways to achieve that is through my second suggestion here is around technologies, and as part of that also AI. So while you might have some fear or unknown or lack of knowledge around what AI is, it's actually just the next step in technology beyond the internet, let's say, for example, and ultimately it's going to be of great benefit to you. You just need to take advantage of what universities offer or what TAFE offers or anything along those lines to learn what's available, what you can do, because you don't necessarily have to do a lot of investment to get there. It's just a different way that you operate and a different way that you perform.
Thank you, Jamal.
My first one would be to be a sponge. There's something of value that absolutely everyone you meet, particularly as a business owner or an exec, has to offer you. So be a sponge to absolutely anyone you meet. There's always something you can learn from anyone. There'll be experts in finance, production, operations. There's a million different things you could learn from anyone on any day. So yeah, be a sponge is my first one. And my second one is, especially for the high pressure environments, enjoy the journey. Right? We get, especially I know myself, I get caught up in the outcomes quite a lot, and outcomes are fantastic, but enjoy the journey of achieving them, because you oftentimes finish a big project or something that's taken you months, years to complete, and sit back and say, wow, that was really fun. The journey of it was really fun, so yeah, enjoy the journey is my second one.
Thank you. Wally?
I love that question, Mayor, because it's important. 2 things. Don't isolate yourself and stay valuable. Don't isolate you. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Belongs to platforms who they love you, they care for you, and they back you up all the way to the bank. Stay valuable, market change, customers change, but if you keep providing real solution to real problem, you remain relevant. Business connection, create opportunity. Keep that in mind.
Before we wrap it up, I just want to say there's 3 businesses in here, both John, Mariam and Jamal, and hopefully Lindsay soon as well, that have actually started in Canterbury Bankstown. The national and hopefully international as well, and a couple of them are international, straight from Canterbury Bankstown. So don't ever underestimate where your business is going to go. You know, you will, I have no shadow of a doubt, you keep at it, you keep working hard, you keep coming to events and networking and trying to build your business and work hard. And I have no doubt that your business will also one day be a national and international business. That's one thing I wanted to say. The other thing was, I had a person come up to me earlier who said to me, I was here 12 months ago and my business, I'm not going to say who it is, I'm not going to embarrass them. It was a new startup and now they've achieved 10% of what they want to achieve from 12 months ago. And they're here to just network and talk to people. In my head, I got my 10% is great. They've started their own factory, they have a staffer, and then doing what they do. So please network, talk to people, plan, work around everything you need to. You know, we have a great community here in Canterbury Bankstown, and as you can see, there's a lot of great businesses that people don't necessarily know or talk about, that they're actually international.